We turn now to Rebecca Dallet. She's a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge and one of the three candidates running for Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Judge Dallet, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Your first campaign ad targets the values of the sitting American president, President Trump. Why was that an important statement for you to make?
Well, we've been talking about the state of our country, the state of our state right now. I think it's important for all of us to understand where we are right now. We're at a moment in time where we are feeling threatened. All of the values that I've talked about, the clean air and water and equal protection, and women are under attack, and this is something we all feel and we all relate to. And I'm the candidate that is going to be able to protect those values at this critical time, and there's just too much at stake right now to have someone without the experience needed to advocate for the policies that need to be changed and to make sure to protect those values through the decision-making of the court.
Yes, indeed. Justice Rebecca Dallet for Supreme Court of Wisconsin has just admitted she would be an advocate on the Supreme Court. She would be a judicial activist rather than rule by law, rather than rule if it's constitutional, rather than rule by law. She will be an advocate, a judicial activist.
I believe strongly in the rule of law, and I believe that the role of the court is to interpret and to apply the law, but not to rewrite the law or to try to legislate from the bench. I think that's fundamental to our system of government, and I think it's critical that the justices on our Supreme Court understand the limited role that they've been given by the people through our Constitution.
Dallet has tried to be she thinks cautious by saying, well, I haven't talked about any specific cases that would come before me, but she's talked about issues that she holds dear. She talks about clean air, clean water, women's rights, workers' rights, full funding for schools. And then she said on Wisconsin Public Radio the other day, she said that there's just too much at stake right now to have someone without the experience needed to advocate for the policies that need to be changed and to make sure to protect those values. And so she's running on her values, and she's urging people to vote for her so that she can advocate for those policies.
To advocate.
And that is just not the role of a court.
No, what is the inherent danger of a court that does base decisions upon its personal preferences? As one of your opponents, Tim Burns, said, he wants the court to substitute the precept of judicial review that you outlined here with my own personal preferences. Why is that so wrong and so dangerous?
The danger is that it upsets the very foundation of our system of government. We have three branches of government: the legislative, the executive, which is headed by our governor, and the judicial branch. And for the Supreme Court to be legislating from the bench and advancing the justices' own political preferences or personal beliefs, at the very core, what's going on is that the court then is assuming for itself power and authority that the people have never given it, and taking power and authority away from the other two branches. Now, if the people want to allow for that, we can amend the Constitution and give the judicial branch that authority to stand as an absolute, give it an absolute veto over any policy choice made by the legislature and the governor. But that's not our system. And so the only way to give meaning to the separation of powers is to allow those other two branches to set policy for the state. And when they make a policy choice, when it comes to the court, it's not a question of whether it was a good or a bad policy choice. The only question is, did they overstep a constitutional boundary? And if they did not, the court is obligated to remain hands-off and allow those other two branches to do their work.
Wisconsin Supreme Court judicial candidate Michael